In the beginning of this part, we see June and Jeevan meet with an accident. Nothing happens to June, but Jeevan gets badly hurt. She becomes unconscious. June calls the ambulance and asks it to come quickly. After some time, Jeevan is brought to the hospital. Yolk has also come to live in the city a month ago. He is a doctor and works in the same hospital. When he sees the condition of Jeevan, he quickly comes to the nurse and asks what's the matter. The nurse tells him the condition of Jeevan. We come to know that Yolk is the one who is going to treat her. Then the scene shifts and we see June sitting outside the treatment room. When Yolk comes out, he sees that June is also injured, so he tells June that he should also get himself treated. June says, "No, I am absolutely fine." Then Yolk asks what is his relation with the patient. June tells him that he is an accident victim. Yolk says if it is so, then you should get yourself checked properly and get your treatment done. Then June says, "I said I am fine, leave me alone." After that, we see June in the bathroom of the hospital and she is applying a bandage on her injury. Yolk takes the treatment of Jeevan and is standing near her. Then June comes there and asks how Jeevan is now. Yolk says, "You had said that you are an accident victim, so why are you here?" June says, "I want compensation for whatever loss I have suffered. That is why it is important for me to know her condition." Then Yolk tells that Jeevan has been hurt a lot, but it is nothing serious. After that, when Jeevan regains consciousness, she is shocked to see her condition because both her hands are in plaster and she also has a bandage around her neck. June is sitting next to her and asks if she is okay. Seeing June, Jeevan recognizes him. She tells him that this is the same boy who had come to give her the bouquet on her wedding day. Jeevan asks what he is doing here. June tells her that he is the cyclist whom she hit. Jeevan asks if he is okay, and June tells her that he is absolutely fine. Then Jeevan asks about her dog, which was in her car. She starts crying, wondering if her dog is dead. June tells her that he has kept her in the veterinary clinic. She is not dead. She must be undergoing surgery at this time because she was injured. Jeevan feels a lot of relief after hearing this because now she has only her dog left. If Jeevan is crying, then June gives her a tissue paper. When he wipes her tears, Jeevan thanks him. Then we see Jeevan near Yolk. Jeevan asks about his condition. Yolk tells her that it is nothing serious. He has a whiplash injury in his neck. So after a few days, the bandage around his neck will be removed, and the plaster on his hands will be removed after a week. If you want to recover quickly, do not use your hands. Then we spend the night with Jeevan and June sitting outside the hospital. Let's see what happens. Jeevan says, "My luck is bad. I should not have come here. I can't believe that I had an accident and hurt my hands." Jeevan tells him everything, why and whom she should look for in this city. She has one thought of calling the same person on social media by sending a message from the hospital. She messages and gets a reply that the person has sent an address and said that they are going on a business trip and will be back after a month. Jeevan gets sad and starts crying because she could not meet the person she had come to meet and also got hurt. June says, "Stop crying. I am not going to reach your tears again." Jeevan says, "Please let me reach you once, June." He wipes her tears with his handkerchief. Then Jeevan asks him, "Why did you wait for me?" June says, "So that I can get compensation. Because of you, my cycle has broken, and I also want compensation for mental stress. So let's get 500,000 rupees. Let's settle everything in the forest. 300,000 rupees for my bicycle and 200,000 rupees for mental stress." Jeevan says, "If I could give, I would have given 5 million to the forest, but at this moment, my financial condition is very bad. But I promise you that I will give you compensation, so write the money in my account." After that, June brings Jeevan inside and makes her lie down on the bed. Here they both tell each other their names. June says, "You sleep now, I will leave again." When he starts going, Jeevan stops him and says, "Will you give me some water to drink before leaving?" June gives her water to drink and starts leaving, but Jeevan stops him again and again, asking him to do some work or the other. Being upset by this, June does not leave the hospital. He falls asleep next to Jeevan and says that he will only stay today. Jeevan stopped him on purpose because she did not want to be alone. The next day we see Ha-young, who is waiting for June to come out of the house, but he is not coming. She asks, "Didn't he come home last night?" Then she messages June asking, "Where are you right now? You are not at home. Where did you sleep last night?" But June does not even look at his messages. This makes her very angry. Then her mom says, "He has not replied to even a single message of yours till date, so what does it matter if he slept somewhere else at night or went on a trip?" It has nothing to do with you. At the same time, Hayoung's friend and classmate Sangji comes and asks her to go to school. Hayoung says, I am depressed right now. Wait a minute, Sangji asks, is June outside hearing this? Hayoung runs out, but Sangji has lied to her so that he can take her to school. After that, we are shown the scene at the hospital when both of them are sleeping. When we wake up, we see that a girl has been shifted to the same room. The lady asks, is this your husband? Then June refuses. Then the lady asks, is this your boyfriend? Then Jivan refuses. Then the lady says, this means you both are brother and sister. Both of them refuse. June says, I owe some money to this girl. When he comes on morning rounds with a nurse, he is surprised to see June still in the hospital. Yok goes and asks Jivan, did you sleep well at night? Jivan says that she could not sleep at all because she was in a lot of pain. Both the nurse and June are surprised to hear this. In fact, the nurse had come at night to give Jivan a painkiller so that she could sleep well, but Jivan was already snoring while sleeping. Jivan was telling how much pain she had suffered at night, hearing which the nurse was laughing a lot, but she controlled her laughter. Yok says to June, by the way, why are you still here? You clearly said that you are not her guardian. June doesn't answer and leaves from there. He goes to the veterinary clinic to see Jivan's dog. June has to pay the entire treatment cost of the dog, which is 3.29 million. After coming to the hospital, June tells all this to Jivan. Jivan asks June to borrow some money, but June refuses to give. Jivan says, I will return all your money in one go. Hearing this, the lady thinks in her mind that it seems this girl is taking advantage of him. Jivan says, I have to get my car fixed, then I will sell it and return all your money. June asks, are you telling the truth? Jivan replies, otherwise what is it? Write it in my account so you don't forget. After that, we see June feeding Jivan with his own hands because Jivan's hands are in plaster and she cannot use them. When Yok sees this, he asks, what is going on? Why is this accident victim taking care of her? Jivan asks June to buy a lot of things and asks him to write the money in her account. Then she asks June to give her water. He gives her water, and June says, hurry up, I have to go to work too. Jivan says, you are going to work again. June says, I have to work very hard to earn money so that I can lend you money. Jivan says, you are right, go quickly and earn a lot of money. Then June leaves from there. We see June doing a part-time job in a cafe. After that, he comes to the hospital and takes care of Jivan, feeding him. In the next scene, we see him working as a salesman on the road, and then at night, he also works in a restaurant. This means he does a lot of part-time jobs. June's bicycle was broken due to an accident, so he buys a new bicycle. Many days pass. June meets Jivan and is leaving the hospital. June says, you come to meet Jivan every day after work, so can I know why you are taking care of her? Do you have any bad intentions behind this? June says, I'm doing it because I want to. Yo says, your name is June, have we ever met? Then June says, I don't think we have ever met. Then June leaves from there. June comes home and asks Yo about that. June says to himself that he shouldn't be worried. At the same time, Han Hyung comes to his house and says, what are you doing these days? I only see you at home sometimes. Jun says that he is working too much. Then Hung says, who works so much? You can fall sick. Jun says, don't worry about my health, just mind your own business. Hyung tells June about a business by which he can earn 5 lakh rupees in 2 days. Then June decides to do this work and says he will take care of himself for 2 days. Now, 2 days pass. June has been in the hospital for 2 days and has not come. His phone is also switched off, due to which Jivan is very worried about where he has gone. The lady asks if June has gone out somewhere with his girlfriend. Jivan is quite surprised to hear this. The lady says, haven't you ever asked him where he lives and who is in his family, whether he has a girlfriend or not? Jivan had not asked him all this, which is why he doesn't know anything. The lady says, he might have run away. You are going to be discharged soon, so you are not going to borrow money from June itself to pay the hospital bills. Jivan says, you were going to do the same. Then the lady says, now I am sure that he has run away because he was under a lot of pressure. Jivan says, he has already lent me a lot of money, so why would he run away without taking the money back? Then the lady says, I don't want to say this, but looking at you, it seems that you will never return his money. Maybe he has run away. Thinking about this, Jivan says, this cannot happen, and gets very upset. At night, we see Jivan, who is alone because her children have been discharged and gone. Jivan is thinking about June and says, he has not come even today. Has he really run away? Jivan has not washed her hair for a week, due to which her hair starts itching, but she scratches her hair too. She can't because her hands are covered with plaster, and in the process, the glass of water falls down. When she goes to pick up the glass, she slips, falls, and injures her head. She starts crying a lot because her condition is such that she is unable to do anything on her own. At the same time, Yok is passing by and seeing Jeevan crying, he comes to her and asks why she is crying and what the matter is. Jeevan cries and says her hair is itching but she is not able to scratch it, and there is no one here who can scratch her hair. So, Yok scratches her hair. Yok is also laughing a lot because Jeevan was crying because of this. At that very moment, June comes there and says, "What are you doing?" When Jeevan is sitting on the ground, June picks her up. In the next scene, we see that June takes Jeevan somewhere on a bicycle. Jeevan is still crying and asks June where he had gone. June tells her that he had gone out because of work. Then both of them sit at a place and start seeing the beautiful view of the city. But Jeevan tells him that her family went bankrupt, and the person she was going to marry ran away because her dad had promised to give him a lot. But he died. June asks why she was getting married. Jeevan says because her dad told her to. June says, "Are you an idiot? How can you marry a person whom you don't even like on your dad's advice?" Jeevan says she didn't like him. But he was a very nice person and liked her a lot. So June says if he was so nice, then why did he run away from the marriage? Here, Jeevan also tells him that he was also scammed, due to which he lost his apartment. June is quite surprised to hear this. Many more things happen between them. After that, June comes to Miss Jean's beauty parlor with Jeevan and starts washing her hair. Jeevan is looking at June and praising his face. She also tells him that he is very handsome. Due to all these things, June starts blushing, so he puts a towel over Jeevan's eyes so that she does not know that he is blushing. The next day, Yok removes the plaster from Jeevan's hands. Then he asks if she has a place to stay after discharge. Jeevan tells him that yes, she is going to go with June. June says, "You have a place to stay for one night. You will have to pay 30,000 rupees. Food, maintenance, and clinic are all included in it. Do you agree?" Jeevan says yes. If she gets discharged today, she has to pay the hospital bills, which are 1.29 million. After the hospital, June will go straight to a part-time job and bring Jeevan with him too. June is working in a cafe. Jeevan is looking at him only, and he is not at all comfortable with this. He is not able to concentrate on work. He writes the address of Miss Jean's beauty parlor on a paper, gives it to her, and says, "You go here and wait for my arrival." Jeevan tells him that she does not have money for the taxi, so June gives her some money. Jeevan says, "Write it in my account," and then she leaves, but she bumps into Yok outside the cafe. Jeevan asks, "Have you come here for lunch?" Yok says, "Yes." Then Yok picks up the paper and gives her the paper on which June had written the address. Jeevan thanks him and leaves because the taxi has already arrived. Yok is going inside the cafe, and inside he sees June working. After that, we see Jeevan reaching Miss Jean's parlor. Miss Jean thinks that she is a customer and Jeevan is dressed very well. Miss Jean thinks that she is very rich, which is why she treats Jeevan very well. Miss Jean styles Jeevan's hair very well. After some time, Ha-young also comes there from school. When Miss Jean asks for money from Jeevan, Jeevan says that she will give the money later, hence write it in her account. Miss Jean agrees, but then Ha-young says to her mom, "What are you doing? He is not here, so how can you trust him? What if he never pays you the money?" After hearing this, Jeevan says, "What do you want to say? What do you think?" "That I am such a person. I have just shifted here today," so Ha-young asks where she lives, but Jeevan doesn't know that June's house is nearby, so she says that she will know soon. Ha-young says, "You don't know where your house is. Honestly, I think you are a scammer." She starts getting angry at Jeevan. Due to this, Jeevan gets scared and tries to run away from there, but at the same time, June is there. Miss Jean and Ha-young come to know that June and Jeevan know each other, and they are quite surprised by this. Then June brings Jeevan to his house. Jeevan says, "You should have told me that you live nearby." June's house is very small, so Jeevan says that she will not stay here. June says, "It is very late, so sleep here today and find another place for yourself tomorrow." Jeevan asks, "Do you have only one bed?" June says, "Yes." When Jeevan asks, "Where will you sleep?" June says, "We will sleep together on this bed." Jeevan gets very excited after hearing this. Then we see Ha-young, who is quite upset because June has told her not to sleep. Ha-young was told that Jeevan was going to stay at her house. Ha-young is not at all happy with this. She is getting very angry because some other girl is going to live with her crush, and she is also prettier than Young. Thinking about everything, she doesn't even feel like eating food. Then we see June and Jeevan. June says, "Don't worry, I was joking." June tells Jeevan that he has to go to a part-time job, so he goes to the bathroom to freshen up. Then we see Yok, who is thinking about Jivan because Yok feels that June is not a trustworthy person. So he calls Jivan, but she does not pick up the phone. This makes Yok very worried about her. When June is washing his hair and the water runs out, he asks Jivan to give him 2 bottles of water from the fridge. Then he sees that Jivan is sleeping while snoring. That is why she did not pick up the call, and the phone is also on silent. When Yok picked up the paper and gave it to Jivan, he had read the address written on that paper. That is why he reaches that address and is calling Jivan, but she does not pick up the phone. Hae-yoke is peeping into Miss Jin's parlor when Hae-young asks from behind, "What are you doing?" She is holding an iron pipe in her hands because she feels that this Yoke is the thief of Jun's fridge. When he takes out 2 bottles of water, one of the bottles falls from his hand, and the bottle rolls and goes under the bed. June goes to take out the bottle very carefully without waking up Jivan from sleep. But this is not possible as Jivan wakes up from sleep. She wakes up and sees June on top of her without shorts, which makes her scream loudly. Hae-young and Yoke hear this outside, so both of them quickly run inside. Seeing June sitting shirtless in front of Jivan, Hae-young also screams loudly, and along with her, Yoke also screams because she feels that June was doing something wrong with Jivan. And this is where this part ends. So guys, how did you like this part? Please let me know by commenting. If you want to see further parts, then subscribe to the channel. Like or dislike the video as per your wish, and I will meet you in the next video. Take care, bye-bye.